been sleeping on this, and there was a good chance that you may have been sleeping on this as well. Controller players, if you want to kick it up a notch in the movement department on Black Ops 6, we need to chop it up about this. The hybrid controller setting. Yep, that sneaky hybrid slide dive option that stirred up hype and debate among the community. It's like having two moves in one. One minute you're tapping out a slide, the next you're plunging into a dive. So let's talk about if this is a game changer or just another fancy option that makes you scratch your head. And are you pro hybrid or anti-hybrid in Black Ops 6? Do not answer that question unless you have already tried hybrid though. Let's talk about it. So just like most things in the game, there are pros and cons. We are going to talk about the pros and cons in a minute here. Now, this is for the most part my opinion, of course, after giving the hybrid feature a try for about a week or so. Now, I have to tell you guys what made me want to make this decision here. I got to give a shout out to my boy and arch niggasis when we are playing 8s with the squad. Shout out to GB. He has been very vocal about the benefits of hybrid, and I was curious. I just didn't quite make the decision until he did this one night. This clip you are about to see, I am on the receiving end of things, no diddy. At that point, I was like, nah, bro, I got to give this shit a go.
Watch out.
P1.
Joey, do you love Zoe?
Oh my god.
Now, if you are interested in using the hybrid controller setting, you're going to want to scoot on over to your controller settings, of course. Move over to the movement tab and scroll down here to movement behaviors. Show more and toggle hybrid. So if you're using the default controller settings, you will have to press L3 first and then circle so you can get that dive to activate. That being said, in my experience, sliding feels way more responsive to me as well, but it could be placebo. This can be a bit tricky. I'll show you essentially how it works when it comes to diving. I'll go ahead and put a controller plugin up on the screen right here. You will have to press L3 and then circle in rhythm to get that dive animation. Again, this is for players that have the default button layout. I know some folks use bumper jumper tactical or other layouts, so those buttons will be different, but the rhythm will essentially be the same. I think once you have it down pat, it'll be very hard to mess up. Now, I do use a DualSense Edge controller, so I am not taking my right thumb off of the right stick to hit circle. I have my back left paddle set to circle, so I am hitting circle that way. One thing that I accidentally do a lot is dive backwards. I have been doing that a lot less than before. I don't think I've accidentally dived backwards at all since I've been using hybrid. It's like the system gently tells me, no more random backflips, we got this. There's been times where I would unexpectedly backwards dive into walls, backwards dive off of the freaking map on Skyline, but now it feels like I'm in control of those moments. But yes, again, it saves me for those cringy accidental dives that no one asks for, that are just straight up embarrassing. You don't be wanting to go 3 dead in rank play because one of your guys just dived out the freaking map. And I've noticed my overall movement just feels more deliberate, which makes it easier to plan my next move, especially in heated situations. This lets me focus more on strategy rather than playing not to make a mistake, if that makes sense. So let's talk about some more pros here. It does call for a lot of versatility. The hybrid setting lets you toggle between a tap slide and an extended dive based on how you press the button. It's like having a dual mode for your movement, perfect for those moments where you want to be unpredictable. And a lot of times you can finesse players, putting them on skates, breaking their ankles, whatever term you want to use. Hybrid allows you to be pretty versatile. You also have more control. By blending analog inputs with the digital command of a button press, the hybrid mode gives you a fine-tuned response. It's almost like you have this secret signal saying slide now, dive if needed. For seasoned players that crave that razor-sharp timing, it's a way to perfect those high-stakes maneuvers. It even calls for a competitive edge for advanced players. For those who've been in the game long enough to treat dance moves as combat moves, this setup could be your secret sauce, man. And for me, it did take a couple of games to get used to, but after focusing on it for a bit, I definitely feel rewarded. And defensively, this is also very clutch. You can do a whole lot on both offense and defense with this. Sliding out of the way, diving out of the way. A minor tweak in the slide/dive timing can turn an average move into a clutch defensive escape, while at the same token, a dope aggressive play. Think of it like customizing your ride. A few adjustments here and there, and suddenly your controller feels like an extension of your playstyle. On the flip side though, even with all this control, there are times when the move doesn't quite come out as planned. Under pressure, my taps sometimes get misinterpreted as holds or vice versa. And suddenly my well-rehearsed strategy turns into an impromptu dance routine. Again, things will get better with practice. I understand that 100%, but so far hybrid has done me more good than bad. But it can be a little bit inconsistent at the beginning. The inconsistency makes for some entertaining blooper reels. Maybe your teammates can get a laugh at it, but at the same time, it might cost you to make a bad play, making you lose some SR. Sometimes just when I think I'm locked in, the system throws a curveball, challenging my reflexes and forcing me to improvise. It's like a surprise feature to the update mid-game. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what's happening. Sometimes when you're actually in the mix, your brain kind of forgets that you are focusing on a different task at hand. It has been keeping me on my toes though. Another thing that might be a little bit of a problem is as someone that plays with auto attack sprint, to save the life of my L3 button on the DualSense Edge, I fear that I may be on my way to destroying my L3 button again, making the switch to hybrid. It's not nearly as bad as smashing your L3 button to sprint, but it still kind of makes me wince here and there. And as I glossed over a second ago, it can be a learning curve. Let's keep it a stack. The hybrid setting isn't necessarily plug and play. It demands a new level of muscle memory and considerable practice to nail the perfect timing every time. If you're used to the simple tap for a slide, getting accustomed to this new method can feel like learning a new dance routine or some shit in the middle of a heated match. And it could call for some occasional oversensitivity. As I was saying, it does feel more responsive, but in a weird way, it can also feel a bit too eager. You might catch a trigger on a slide or a dive when you least expect it, especially if you're one of those players that don't play with auto attack sprint on, kind of like an over-enthusiastic friend that barges in uninvited. That unexpected action at the worst time possible can throw off your rhythm when you are in the mix. And another thing is, not every map or situation benefits from the split-second decisions of the hybrid mechanic. I definitely feel like this is something that I had to do if I want to get unhard stuck diamond this season, because better players just have better movement, and I do think this will actually give me a little bit of a boost here. But the old reliable slide might be all you need in simpler combat scenarios depending on the map. It's the classic case of less is more, especially if you prefer straightforward gameplay. Or maybe you're an AR player, you like to just hold spawns. I don't necessarily think that it is a must that you use hybrid, but if you like to be in the mix, if you like to be aggressive, or even if you're an OBJ player, I highly recommend giving it a go. And again, if you've been grinding with the standard setup for a while, it can just feel uncomfortable. I remember a few years ago when I first started to use back button attachments on my controller, I felt like I was in a different freaking country. It felt super awkward, but over time, I got way better with it, and I don't want to use any controller that doesn't have back button attachments whatsoever. And it's kind of the same way with hybrid here. In summary though, the Black Ops 6 hybrid controller setting offers a fantastic mix of versatility and the potential for a competitive edge if you are willing to put in the work. It's a pretty dope tool for advanced players seeking to push the movement mechanics into uncharted territory. On the flip side, its complexity and occasional unpredictability means it might not be everyone's cup of tea. So what do you think though? Are you ready for a little extra flavor to your gameplay, or do you prefer sticking to what's tried and true? I say at least give it a go. I'm not saying it's a must use, but it's definitely a must try. Drop your thoughts and personal experiences down in the comment section. Check out these two videos here though. I'll see you guys over there.